Hey friends, my name is Juan. I am David's friend, and he had asked me to drop in today in this video and share with you guys a quick story of evangelism and restoration and how personal God is. So here we go. One day, I was evangelizing at this specific spot outside of a gym here in Town and Country. And I would go to this place. Maybe I went there for like 3 months. Every Tuesday I would go to evangelize there. And this one day is very special. I would evangelize from about 6 to 7 p.m. And usually those days, right at 7 actually, I would have a Bible study. So I would have to be quick at 7 to go there. Well, this one day, it was like 6:55, and I had to go, but I really felt in my spirit that I had to stay for a little bit longer. And I decided, I said, Lord, I'm going to stay just one more time, one more person. And I was standing right by I was maybe about 20 feet away from the door of the gym, and this gentleman was about to go in and open the door. And I heard the Lord say, I want you to talk to him. And I said, no, I'm not going to go talk to him because I'm not a person to yell at somebody. I like to be polite, go to people and ask them and stuff. I don't want to yell. But I knew that if I didn't, he was just going to go in. So I said, you know what, whatever. Let's just get it over with. I said, hey, can I ask you a question? And as he's opening the door, he looks at me and he walks over to me. Already like, whoa, like what is going on? Nobody's ever been this receptive that quickly. So he closes the door, walks up to me, and he's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, hey, my name is Juan. This is my friend Freddie. And his name is Rob. And I said, Rob, I want to ask you a question. I said, did you know that God has a purpose for your life? And immediately he says, yes, I do. And that's awesome. Well, do you know what it is? And he said, I don't know. And I was like, well, that's a good answer. And I started explaining to him my routine. I explained to him what sin is, what the meaning of sin, failing God's purpose and stuff so he can understand. And as I'm explaining this to him, he's very receptive, and he just starts opening up, like softening up, like almost as he's about to cry already. And he starts like, yeah, like, oh, I've been going through this, going through that. Well, the more we talk, we find out that he had just broken up with his girlfriend and that he was going to kill himself. He was in a big depression. He didn't know what to do. So I was like, Lord, what is your heart for him? What do you want me to tell him? I think it's very important to in evangelism to ask God, what does he want to say to them, right? What does Jesus want to say to them? Because that's the most important thing. So not only the gospel is getting preached, but I also want to preach to him the heart of the Father towards him. And I heard in my spirit, I heard the name Margaret, and I was like, I wonder if this is the Holy Spirit. Well, then in my head immediately I answered. I was like, well, Juan, the only way for you to find out if it was the Holy Spirit is to ask him. The worst thing that can happen is just that he says he doesn't know the name, and then we just carry on because God is already opening him up anyways. So it wouldn't take away the fact of what's happening. So I said, hey, Rob, this is going to be a really weird question, bro. But I was talking to the Holy Spirit. I told him I was talking to the Holy Spirit, and I heard the name. I heard the name Margaret, Margie. I was like, does this name have any meaning to you? I don't know. And he just like goes like pauses, and I'm like, well, I'm just kind of waiting. I don't know the guy. I don't know the name. I'm just going with what I feel from the Holy Spirit, and I don't know where his countenance changes, and he's like, who are you? How do you know her name? He gets mad, like he starts like completely changes, and I'm like, bro, I don't know. I was like, I don't know who you are. I just met you. You just met me. This is to show you how personal God is and that God is watching over you. And I said, well, what does this mean? I was like, what is his name? He's like, he can't talk. He's like, that's my mom's name. And in 6 months, the doctor says she's going to die. She's in the hospital and she's going to die soon. And he starts bawling like a little baby. And I was like, wow. I was like, Lord, you're amazing. The fact that you want to call this out, just to show him. And it opened up a door for me to minister to him. I said, Jesus is showing this just to tell you how much he cares about you, that he's there with you. He's been there with you from the beginning, and he's showing you that he's there with you today, going through this with your mom and with your breakup. And I want to let you know that the Lord is not going to fail you. If you give your life to the Lord, if you commit to the Lord, he's not going to fail you. He's going to redeem you. He's going to redeem your mom. I declared healing over his mom. And as I'm praying for him, he's like, oh, he's like crying, like worse than a newborn baby. He looks like he's about to fall on the floor. I'm pretty sure if I laid hands on for the fire god, he would have fell on his back. And as I'm praying for him and declaring things over him, he starts going, he's like, what are you guys doing to me? He's like, this has never happened. He's like, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you feel? He's like, my heart. He's like, somebody's touching my heart. He's like, I'm like, Jesus is touching your heart. He's like, yeah. He's like, he's touching my heart. He's like, my heart is so tender right now. And he's crying. He feels love. He's like, I feel love. I don't know what this is. He's like, I've never felt this before. And I was like, in my head, I was like, about to do a praise break over here. And then I'm like, Lord, I'm like, you are amazing. And it reminds me of how personal God is. That's what I want to get to you today, is that God is a personal God. He says that he knows all the hairs on the top of your head. And he called you by name while you were still in your mother's womb, it says in the book of Isaiah. So God calls us by name. God is a personal God. He's not just standing there with his arms crossed looking over and see that happening. No, he's actually willing to go and reveal himself to us. It says, seek God and you'll find him, right? It says, those who call upon his name, he will answer. So it was just a great reminder of how much God desires to be with us. There's somebody that I look up to. His name is Rabbi Zacharias. He was an apologist. Well, he said that, he made a comparison. He said, all religions is usually man seeking God. And he said Christianity is the only religion where you find that God is seeking man. Is the reverse. So God is seeking us each and every single day. So that's what I want to get to, you guys. God is seeking for you. God is looking for you. And just as personal as he was with my friend Rob, he can be as personal with you. Thank you, guys.